With Valentine's Day coming up, love might be on all of our minds, but in Dublin Zoo, like in real life, there are a fair share of commitment-phobes, lonely singles, and those who really like a bit on the side. We spoke to zookeeper Brendan Walsh about all the different relationships that go on in Dublin Zoo.
Biologically speaking, monogamous means one male, one female for a breeding season. In human terms, it's generally seen as a lifelong partnership, and that does happen in the animal world. Albatross, a few monkeys, most humans are monogamous. But in the animal world, in the mammal world, animals like ourselves have fur, give their young milk. That's much more rare. Probably less than 5% of mammals are actually monogamous or live in groups. Most mammals, especially females, they live on their own. Tigers, you don't see them in groups. They become pregnant with a male. They might spend anything between an hour and 3 days with a male when they become pregnant, mating for that amount of time. But when they give birth, they don't want any other tigers around. They want time to themselves, and that's very common in the animal world. Where, in the mammal world, where a lot of mammals want to raise their young on their own. Then you have the exceptions in group living, like polygamy. Lions do it. Zebras. A lot of. If you're not a meat eater, if you're a herbivore, if you eat vegetation, you generally want to be with other animals. If you're with a big group of 100 animals, there's less chance of you being killed by a lion or by a tiger. It's called the dilution effect. So yeah, there's lots of animals live in different ways. So there's like monogamy, one male, one female. Then you have polygamy, generally one male, lots of females. And then even rarer, you have polyandry, where you have one female and many males. And that's quite rare. Like giant pandas, with basically one female, which she'll entice lots of males to her. And anything between 2 to 7 males could mate her over 24 to 48 hour period. So there's kind of 3 main different ways animals breed. In our society, of course, monogamy is probably the most common globally. And to me it works well, because obviously if you've got children, there's plenty of single parents can do a great job at it, and then if there's 2 parents, often the workload is shared. So it's I think from a biological point of view, I think that's why the mother and father will stay together for so long. They need the resources to bring that child up.
And of course, in human life, we come across many commitment-phobes who might not want relationships other than mating or sex. Yeah. That happens a lot in the zoo. What animals in Dublin Zoo are particularly like that? Yeah,
I mean, I know after having worked in the zoo and meeting lots of mothers that visit the zoo, certainly single parent families in the animal world and the non-animal world can certainly do a great job, can't they? And you can see that regularly in the animal world. I say majority of animals, the father is not there helping. So commitment phobes, you could look at the likes of tigers, that females want to find a male, get pregnant, and then say bye bye. As do the males, they're quite happy to separate as well. Occasionally they might mix and bond again, but generally it's a case of goodbye. Whereas other animals, there's lots of similarities in our society and animal societies. Like bickerings and arguments that might happen in our culture certainly happen in other animals as well. We're doing a long-term study on our flamingos, and the females, when they're on a nest, they won't go off the egg. They'll stay on their egg. They don't come off it when it's their turn to mind the egg. So sometimes the male will wander off, and he might flirt a bit, interact a bit, court a bit with another female. She won't leave the nest, but she will spot this, and he comes back 1, 2, 3 hours later. She will bicker with him, attack him, and basically give out to him for that. So you can see the similarity between ourselves and flamingos. There's also homosexual flamingos. There's lots of other animals that would engage in homosexuality as well, be it for a period of their life or for their whole life. I certainly don't believe that homosexuality is exclusive in our species. And then, there's obviously the old romantics, like the flamingos that are together 30, 40 years. Some of our flamingos in their mid-40s, and their bond is strong, and they rely on each other. And things like the albatross, in the wild, we don't have them at the zoo, but they're one of the most powerful monogamy relationships, where they can be apart for months at a time. And then when they reunite, they court, and lots of things happen. So romance is very much, it's in the animal world as well, in my opinion.
Those looking for an alternative Valentine's Day date might be interested in Dublin Zoo's Love Morning, taking place next Valentine's Day weekend. Tickets are still available for the Sunday of the morning, where couples will have a romantic picnic and tour the zoo not long after daybreak. Patricia Murphy, Independent.ie.